Well, this week, our spotlight shines on a city known for grand hotels, fine dining, high-end shopping, and the occasional celebrity encounter. Feel like a star as we take you to beautiful Beverly Hills with Lisa Cedillo.
Welcome to this spotlight on the beautiful and rich city of Beverly Hills. Today's first stop, Greystone Mansion. Beverly Hills. It's home to the most famous, wealthy, and powerful people in the world. Its city zip code became a household name in the 90s with the mega hit TV drama Beverly Hills 90210, produced by former resident, the late legendary Aaron Spelling. Merely 6 square miles in size, Beverly Hills is a small town, but for decades has been a must-see destination to tourists traveling to California. Rodeo Drive is one of the most exclusive and celebrated shopping streets ever, and home to famous designer boutiques like Gucci, Armani, Chanel, Valentino, and Christian Dior. The jewelry stores boast names like Cartier and Tiffany. Rodeo also houses the single most expensive store in the world, Bijan. Shopping here is by appointment only, and be ready to spend about $50,000 for a men's suit or $50 for a pair of socks. Ouch. And if your pocketbooks aren't that deep, department stores like Saks Fifth Avenue and Neiman Marcus are nearby. And if you're in the mood for a beauty makeover, be sure to stop in at one of the city's plush salons like Jose Ibert, where the stars come to get their signature looks for Hollywood's biggest events like the Oscars. For 4 decades, Jose Ibert has been one of the most recognizable names in hairstyling. He has created trend-setting hairstyles for the likes of Liz Taylor, Cher, and Farrah Fawcett. And with Emmy season upon us, our very own Heather Dawson got the ultimate Ibert treatment. From her golden locks to this fiery red new look, Heather and her hair are ready to rock any red carpet. Do you come here a lot?
We come here occasionally. We live close by. There's great produce and the flowers are wonderful, and it's just a great thing to do on Sunday mornings.
For a more local flavor, city residents can enjoy the Beverly Hills Farmers Market, open every Sunday, where they sell California's finest home fresh produce.
Since I've been here, it has grown somewhat. We've gotten in more farmers, a few more food vendors. Like I said, we had to move the market 2 years ago, and then I was able to set up the separate organic section, which people really like.
But one of Beverly Hills' best-kept treasures is the famous Greystone Mansion and Estate, to what was once the largest family estate in the history of the city. Welcome to Greystone Mansion. It was billed as a home by the Doheny family back in 1928, but now is owned by the city and open to the public to enjoy its beautiful surroundings all year round. From music in the mansion to high tea on the terrace and concerts in the courtyard, Greystone Park and Estate is a must-see in Beverly Hills. For this spotlight, I'm Lisa Cedillo.
Well, the best military in the world is about to become even more efficient, and the training is happening right here in California. Lessons from the War on Terror are the backbone of a new training program at Camp Pendleton. Soldiers are learning how to better identify a threat in a war zone. It's called Combat Hunter, teaching Marines to think and act like hunters to take out a terrorist before the threat becomes reality. Here's Tom Jordan.
A general store, greetings in the marketplace, games in the street, all the elements of a typical community in war-torn Iraq.
Shots fired, shots fired.
Including a surprise insurgent attack.
Hey!
But this is not Iraq, it's Camp Pendleton, and this is a new training program called Combat Hunter.
We liken it to nowhere to run to, nowhere to hide.
Greg is the combat specialist leading the Marine Corps' most recent innovation of combat training. The former police officer and his team bring a unique skill of observing, profiling, and tracking an enemy target from both city life and big game hunting to the battlefield.
There we go. Turn down that street nice and slow.
His group of specially trained Marines are looking for certain behavior sets or domains that trigger a red flag.
The harder a person tries to conceal one of those domains, the more his human behavior characteristics will stick out.
In this scenario, Marines play Iraqi civilians in everyday Iraqi life: soccer, badminton, casual discussion, and the so-called hooligans, those deemed a high-risk priority. Every move, pattern, behavior being watched closely from as far away as 3,000 meters, where Marines with a trained eye are able to see a broader picture and a threat looming on the fringe of town. This man walking with a supposed limp, avoiding attention.
90% of hunting is finding what you're looking for. And then the last 10% is just engaging what you're looking for.
Colonel Fred Padilla says combat hunter training teaches Marines to find their enemies before their enemies strike, even in the confusing fog of war.
This helps to cut through some of that fog and friction, to enable Marines to understand their situation and make the right decisions.
In this exercise, behavior patterns indicate the hooligans here are just a distraction to a larger threat. Remember the man with a limp? Well, now he's attained his place as a sniper, positioned on a nearby rooftop.
3, 2, shots fired, shots fired, shots fired.
A big part of combat hunter training is understanding the Iraqi mindset. The difference between an innocent civilian and a probable threat is key.
Where is Mecca now? That direction. Okay, we pray that direction. We do not face each other as we are praying.
We have the missing piece here. We have real Iraqis who have been in Iraq, who've been in Iraqi military and worked side by side with the U.S. forces for the last 3-4 years, so it's more real.
We're not affecting the innocent civilians that are out there. We'll be better at doing that.
Okay, do me a favor, be on the move.
Greg believes this training is doing just that and helping to knock down a major foe, Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, because they've been faced with combat profiling over the last year, is failing miserably.
In many ways, Rancho Cucamonga High School is like a lot of high schools throughout Southern California. The home of the Cougars is a sprawling campus that focuses on a combination of academics and extracurricular activities like sports and cheerleading. But a new student club on campus is moving into a less traditional area by concentrating on student nutrition and healthy living.
It's called Healthy for Life Club. It's like healthy and then for life, because it's like the 4 things that we're trying to focus on: spiritual, mental, physical, and then nutritional. We meet every Monday after school and we do things that we can incorporate in our everyday lives to make ourselves healthier. We do physical activities, we learn about nutritional facts, and we're going to take those things and we're going to use them to apply to the community so that we can help other people get healthy as well.
Assistant Principal of Education Services and Student Advisor Ursula Weatherton says it's important to catch teens in high school because they tend to be more independent.
Teenagers on a high school campus, they're not really under their parents' control anymore. They're out, they're driving, they're buying their own sorts of foods. And so we want to help them think about the choices that they're making and how it will impact them later in life so that they can start setting up some healthy lifestyle habits.
But the bottom line at any school is education. And nutrition can play a key part in enhancing the learning experience.
Poor nutrition and poor health are reflected in lower grades and poorer performance in school. So we feel that by helping all of our students on the campus, we can help to close this achievement gap by getting some of our kids healthier, getting them to eat breakfast. It's going to help them to focus. It's going to help them to learn, getting them to move. There's research that proves that kids that are aerobically active, the physiology of learning is even improved. So that's our ultimate goal, for the kids to incorporate this into their lifestyles and to have that be reflected both in their learning and their food choices on campus.
But teaching healthy eating and living habits isn't just for high school age students, but extends well into elementary school. On campuses like Etiwanda Colony Elementary School, healthier food options are being offered to students, including a full salad bar stocked with fresh fruits and vegetables. And while kids have traditionally resisted such healthy fare, cafeteria workers are seeing a change in young people's eating habits.
We didn't used to have a salad bar that you could choose what you wanted. You had a salad bar that you just put the salad on your plate and you went on by. So now, yeah, it's a lot healthier, I think.
And at this school, students and teachers are planting vegetable gardens and fruit trees and hope to one day include the fresh produce grown on campus on the cafeteria menu. Not only teaching nutrition, but giving kids a new appreciation for where healthy foods come from. Bringing you the best of California, I'm David Wiley for California Life.
Coming up, Wes Parker takes us to a California landmark that served as a set for Hollywood's biggest stars. And I don't just mean celebrities. Find out what I mean when we come back. Welcome back to California Life. Now we're taking you high into the hills of Hollywood to visit one of the most star-studded places in California. It's been a shooting location for tons of Hollywood blockbusters like Transformers, The Terminator, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, and most recently, Yes Man. But probably the most iconic film shot there was Rebel Without a Cause. And there's even a statue of the film's star, James Dean, located in front of this California landmark. Wes Parker brings you the latest edition of The Good Life at the Griffith Observatory.
Nestled atop Mount Hollywood, the Griffith Park Observatory reopened its doors in November 2006 after being closed for almost 4 years and undergoing a $93 million renovation.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Wes Parker for The Good Life. Today, on a gorgeous Tuesday afternoon, it's hot. The observatory, Griffith Park Observatory, has not opened yet, but as you can see, there's already a big crowd sitting in the shade on a weekday, waiting to get in and see this renovated, beautiful planetarium.
On weekday mornings, the observatory is open exclusively to 5th grade students from around the state, who receive free private tours. The doors open at noon for all other visitors and at 10 a.m. on weekends. The good news is admission to the observatory is free, as it has been since it opened in 1935. Dr. Ed Krupp, an author and expert in the field of astronomy, has been director of the observatory since 1974.
Colonel Griffith went up to Mount Wilson, which had the largest telescope in the world at the time. It was the 60-inch then. Looked through that telescope and said if everybody could look through that telescope, it would change the world. Well, everybody couldn't look through that telescope, and so Griffith said, I'm going to build one that we can get everybody to look through. And so he had this notion of a public observatory. The idea being that for people to look with their own eyes at the universe was a transforming experience. And that's what we do. We turn visitors into observers.
The only thing we were not able to show you today is what Los Angeles looks like from here at night. There is no better viewing spot than right here, Griffith Park Observatory. So if you come to LA, make sure this is one of your stops in the evening. This is Wes Parker for California Life, bringing you The Good Life.
If you'd like to see that stunning view for yourself, you can get more information at griffithobs.org.
Summer's here, and it's a time when we're ready to enjoy the warm weather, spend more time outdoors, and bare more skin. Dr. Sheila Farhang, board-certified dermatologist.
As the seasons transition, it's important to keep in mind that the skin can experience some uncomfortable changes, such as dryness. Remember to incorporate dermatologist-recommended body care into your routine to help keep your skin hydrated and looking its best.
Olay's body care experts partnered with trusted dermatologists to create its dermatologist-designed collection, which targets specific dry skin concerns.
This collection is free from parabens, dyes, and soap, and it's infused with the #1 dermatologist-recommended moisturizing ingredient, petrolatum, as well as natural ingredients such as cocoa butter, oat extract, and aloe vera. I'm confident recommending these body washes to my patients because each one is approved by the Skin Health Alliance.
For more information on the Olay Dermatologist-designed body care collection, visit olay.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm with Aaron Jagfeld, Chairman, President, and Chief Executive Officer of Generac. How are you today?
Good, Corey. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this. How can we prepare for wildfire season, which is right around the corner?
Have a plan. And so that plan really needs to include how to have a continuous source of power at your home, right? I think one of the things that we've learned over the last few years is that the utility companies are really starting to use the power safety shutoffs as an important tool as a way to prevent fires, which is great. But I think the flip side of that, of course, is that we can be for days without power. So make sure your phones are charged, make sure you have an alternate source of power if you can have one, like a portable generator, a home standby generator, maybe a battery cabinet, an energy storage system, some way to make sure that you stay communicating with the outside world and you stay as safe as possible within your own home for as long as possible.
What are some warning signs?
So the combination of high winds and low humidity are definitely a setup for potential fires, and that's where you're going to see utility companies take action with a power safety shutoff.
What happens during a power safety shutoff?
Yeah, it's a tool that the utility companies have started to use, right? So they actually de-energize the lines and all the equipment they have to deliver power to homes and businesses. But the flip side of that is that we don't have any power. If we don't have any power, it's very difficult to stay in communication. It's very difficult to stay ahead of the conditions changing. And so you can put yourself and your family and certainly your home can be in a lot of danger without power.
For more info,
so you can come to our website, www.generac.com, GENERAC.com. We have a lot of information on the products we offer to help you through some of these blackouts and some of these outages. We also have some help in getting started. If you're looking at different solutions, whether they be batteries, whether they be generators, you can kind of solve for your own needs. You can do your own research, and then we can set you up with some more sales information, and even a visit by one of our dealers if you want to take the next step.
Milan Kordestani is an inspiration for generations young and old. By the time he was a teenager, he created his first business, Milan Farms.
For me, it was really just growing up in this mindset of when you see problems in the world, you can create solutions with them, generally using tech. And that mindset really carried on throughout my life.
With his sister Misha, he co-founded Gwyn Records, helping produce, promote, and distribute music for emerging artists. With a successful career in both startups, he created his third, Dormzy.
We founded Dormzy under the idea that young people, and at the time specifically college students, had a lot of talent that nobody had managed to really harness yet. And so we started with a peer-to-peer approach, which was really similar to TaskRabbit. We then pivoted to a marketplace, which was all to land us on where we are today, where our main focus is really ensuring that the next generation of young people are skilled, they have experience, and they can really land a job after they either graduate from college or by the time they reach the age of 24. And so that marketplace and that freelance model is really what we've been focusing on pushing for students and for Dormzys. But Dormzy is really targeted, right? So you can come in and say, hey, I want to hire a graphic designer from UCLA, or I want to hire a JavaScript expert developer from MIT, wherever it is. And so that hyper targeting is what Dormzy does really well.
A lot has been written about millennials, as you know, and their influence on the job market, especially in today's world. What can you tell prospective employers about what they can expect from Generation Z?
Yeah, I think, I'm in Generation Z and we're an interesting bunch. I think the overarching message really is that Generation Z cares. Like we're a generation that really is passionate about the things that we partake in. We're the generation that grew up on social media. And so for us, it's always talking about social issues and what matters to us. And so I think for the first thing for employers is going to be making sure that they create an environment where, my peers, my generation really wants to be there, working on purpose-driven things, working on things that matter for the world.
So Dormzy takes a different look at how students prepare for the job market. Can you talk to us a little bit more about that approach?
Yes, so we really focus on building up, right now students, but soon to be entirely anyone who's 18 to 24, so that by the time they enter the job market, they actually have value and people want to hire them.
So Generation Z has dealt with pandemics, protests, a presidential election, all in just 1 year. Can you give us a sense of the pulse for this generation as they enter into this unique job market?
This is a generation that's experiencing emotion very deeply. I think Gen Z is holistically extremely anxious and is facing, among the worst professional situations in history right now. So I guess my hope for Gen Z would be for them to come out of this pandemic really excited to work, really excited to build.
Well, what tips do you have for employers that are utilizing Dormzy?
Yeah, so I guess for employers using Dormzy, it's really important to find the right student at this time, right? It's important to get paired with someone that you is going to be able to deliver on your expectations.
Well, do you have any words of advice for Gen Z?
Yeah, I guess My general advice to Gen Z would be to hustle, hustle, hustle.
That's good advice for any generation, really.
And that's it for us. If you missed any part of our show, go to our website, californialifehd.com. See you next time.
Watch us on our YouTube channel. Stay connected to our social media, like our blogs on Facebook. Follow our tweets on Twitter, where we bring you the best of California.